I used to be a worse runner while training more. And honestly, it was just all in my head. I used to think that running fast and improving was all about running a lot of miles. But in recent time, I've had some of my best races of my career while running only 25, 30 miles a week. The biggest difference, hands down, is my mentality and how I view myself in running. I recently ran a 16:14 5K, tying my indoor PR. I was running around 25, 30 miles a week leading up to the race. And when I ran my previous PR, I was probably at like 50, 60. When I ran that time, I was a college athlete. And it really shifted my focus on running. I wasn't doing it for the love of the sport. I was doing it because I wanted to be better and I wanted to beat people, and I was hyper focused on like my performances. I always stressed myself on proving myself to people. And in turn, it made me race a lot worse. Now, it's not like I had a bad college career and I ran slow all the time, but there were multiple races where it just went downhill because of my mentality. I would be running 50, 60, sometimes 70-mile weeks, and I would still be putting up times that, in my eyes and at the time of my training, were mediocre. I would always let my worth be defined by results. I would never look at a race and be like, oh, I may have ran a minute slower than my PR, but I raced well. I competed well. That didn't matter to me. I just wanted to win. I wanted to PR. I wanted to do well. I didn't care about having fun. And in reality, this really held me back from the heights I could have reached in that sort of time frame of my life. At that time in my life, I ran full time. I lifted like 3 times a week. I had a college facility. I had a college coach. I had everything in my life catered around running, and I let my mentality hold me back. This even went on after I quit running in college, and I started to run for the purpose of beating those people that I raced in college. I felt like I had something to prove, and I wasn't doing it for fun anymore. I was so focused on performing and not about enjoying myself and loving the sport like I always have. It took me a long time to let go of the clock. And just recently I've really decided to just, go out and enjoy my time. I think a lot of it's because I'm getting married this year, and I just started working like my first real full-time job, and I'm starting to realize like my time running like I do now is very limited. I'm not gonna be able to do what I do right now forever. And I'm struggling to hit 25, 30 miles a week right now, and I know that it's only gonna get harder. So every day that I can run or every day that I can go to a race, I enjoy it and just try to have as much fun as possible, because I do love the sport and I do want to enjoy what I can with it. And me not caring so much about the clock or the time isn't making me a worse runner or making me less competitive. It's letting myself take the small victories or take the small wins and not hold myself to such a high standard that isn't realistic or honest. I still train really hard, and I still train for elite level races, to what I see as elite, college racing when I'm not a college runner. And like I said, I've reached new heights too, honestly, where I haven't been before. One of my weakest types of races was road races, and I PR'd the last 2 road races I've ran, breaking well into the mid-16s. Like, it's something I honestly never thought I'd do. I'm not a road racer. I'm not good on the road. I'm not good at cross country, not good at the road. I'm only good at track. But now I'm breaking that barrier and stepping out of that box that I kind of put myself in, because I would always just care about the clock. I wouldn't care about having fun. And now I'm reaching these new levels. I had to let go of trying to prove myself to people and just enjoy my time. Mentality is such an important part of training and just running and racing and everything to do with like sports in general. When you go into a race just enjoying yourself and trying to have fun and confident in yourself, it's such a different experience. I used to go into every race like so intense, and I still do have that intensity, but it's like I'm not trying to break a time. I'm not trying to do this. I'm not trying to do that. I'm going there and I'm telling myself, I work full time. I worked 12 hours today and I went and ran 5 miles. I did what I could. My last 2 meets I've went to, I worked like I think an 8 or 10 hour shift, then drove up to Saginaw Valley, then ran my races. And I'm like, I'm sitting on the line. I'm like, I'm in a different point in my life than a lot of people on this line. And I need to accept that and be happy with what I'm doing and just be okay with whatever happens. And the last few times I've raced, it's been really good, and I've been very happy with myself, and I've been very happy with how I performed. And but sometimes it's not going to be the case, and that's just part of accepting what running is. You're not always gonna break your PR. You're not always gonna just run the best race of your career. There's gonna be times where this is not the case, and I don't let myself really think about or dwell on that anymore, because I go into every race just trying my best. And if my best didn't get me the time that I wanted, then that's fine. I'm just going to enjoy myself and race to my potential. If I could go back to when I was training in college with a empty schedule, my life more so geared at running like 100%, the one thing I tell myself is just to have a better mentality and just love it. Just love it for the time that you can. Running is such a special sport to not just me, but a lot of people. It's like a therapeutic thing for a lot of people, and it's more than just competing and like breaking your times and like being a college athlete. It's a love. It's such an amazing thing. And I didn't think of it as that. I thought of it as just something I needed to do to prove myself. At the end of the day, just stop worrying about your time. Stop worrying about expectations of other people. Stop worrying about impressing people. Stop worrying about beating people. Stop worrying about all of that. Just think about the bigger picture and think that, whatever situation you're in, maybe you won't be able to run and focus on it like you do now. Maybe you won't be able to do that tomorrow. Maybe you won't be able to do that in a week. Maybe in a month or a year or 10 years. The time that you can do what you're doing right now is very limited. And there's no point in just holding yourself to this colossal standard where you're like, I have to do this now or none of this is worth it. Because I did that for so long and it got me nowhere for a very long time. And now that I'm finally trying to enjoy myself and just love what I'm doing, I'm enjoying myself and I'm hitting these times that I didn't think I'd be able to hit, period, let alone on the low amount of training I'm doing. Appreciating every day you have is so important, because who knows when it's going to be over. There's not a lot of time. And taking it for granted is just a waste of it all. I could go on and on about this and kind of run in circles, but I there's no reason to. I feel like I've said what I wanted to say. Just please do your best to separate yourself from that harmful mentality, because it really does go a long way. It's such a mental sport. It's such a mental game when you're racing. And your whole world could be changed if you just have a good mentality and enjoy yourself. It's the whole reason you're running in the first place. You had to have enjoyed it at some point. So tune back into that. Anyway, that's really all I've got today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That's about it.